Hey guys, today I will do one session about special triangle. Special triangle, you first time see it should be in geometry, and I know in pre-calc when you learn unit circle, in algebra 2 you will see it a lot, and a lot of teacher will keep bringing back because special triangle is like it's very important and very useful information in math. Okay, so we have two type of special triangle. Number one is called a 45 90 triangle. Number two is called a 30 60 90 right triangle. Okay, so both of them have a special ratio about it, and I want to introduce from the first one, 45 90 triangle. So as you can see, if this angle is 45, this angle is 45, then they have the same degree, which means which lead this triangle to an isosceles triangle. Since it is an isosceles triangle, then the opposite side of the congruent angle are congruent. So these two sides will be equal to each other. Okay, if we assume these two sides are 1, use Pythagorean theorem, 1 squared plus a squared plus b squared equals to c squared, which I always tell them to think about as leg squared plus leg squared equals to hypotenuse squared, so you won't confuse yourself which one is a, b, c. You assume this side is x, you will have 1 squared plus 1 squared equals to x squared. Okay, and over here you will have 1 plus 1 equals to x squared, 2 equals to x squared, x equals to square root of 2. Okay, so we know that our hypotenuse, which is our long side, is radical 2. So the special ratio in between of the 45 90 triangle is 1 1 radical 2. Okay. 1 and 1 are your leg, and radical 2 is your hypotenuse. So this one is very easy to prove. Just use a Pythagorean theorem. The second one, you need to use the trig ratio to prove. So here I will not prove it. I will just give you the ratio. So the second one ratio, if we name this triangle over here is a short leg. In the last triangle, you only have 2 legs, and the 2 legs are the same size. So there's will not be short leg, long leg. You can just remember it from leg, and hypotenuse is 1 1 radical 2. But over here, I want to name the leg opposite to 30 degree a short leg, the leg opposite 60 degree a long leg. And again, the side opposite to 90 angle is hypotenuse. Okay, so over here the ratio is short leg will be 1, and the long leg will be radical 3, and then the hypotenuse will be 2. So the ratio in between of the sides of 30, 60, 90 is 1 radical 3 and 2. Okay, all right. So a lot of time, if you don't have a very good foundation in math to understand how to use the ratio, I always use the arrow method to show students how to really calculate the side. So for example, when we use the arrow method, we always want to focus on our leg. Okay, so the first one, we want to always focus on our short leg. Okay, so on our leg, so if you want to calculate the hypotenuse, whatever your leg is, I want you to multiply radical 2. Okay, and then if you know the hypotenuse, you want to figure out the leg. You know the hypotenuse, you want to figure out the leg, you gotta divide it by radical 2. Okay, so this is how you first one you figure out. If you know the leg, you want to figure out the hypotenuse, you're gonna multiply by radical 2. If you know the hypotenuse, you want to know the leg, you're gonna divide it by radical 2. Okay, the second one, we are using the same thing. We want to always focus on the short leg. If you know the short leg, you want to know the hypotenuse, you gotta multiply by 2 this time. Okay? If you know the hypotenuse, you want to figure out the short leg, you want to divide it by 2. Okay? And then if you know the short leg, you want to figure out the long leg, you want to multiply by radical 3. If you know the long leg, you want to figure out the short leg, you're going to divide it by radical 3. Okay, so I will pause here for a second and write down the note, and then we will see a couple examples. All right. Okay, so over here we have 5 examples. All right. So the first step you want to do is identify what kind of special triangle it is. For example, the first one, I have 30 degree here, 90 degree here. According to triangle thumb theorem, you will know the other angle has to be 60 degree because you have to make sure all the angle add up together equals to 180. And then if over here is 4, which means our hypotenuse is 4. Okay, and then I will go ahead, label all my sides. So 30 degree opposite is a short leg, our short leg. 60 degree opposite to 60 degrees, our long leg. We know from hypotenuse, from the short leg to hypotenuse is multiplied by 2. Since over here we have a ratio 1 radical 3, 2. So from the hypotenuse to short leg, we should divide it by 2. Okay? And so you do 4 divided by 2 as equals to 2. Okay? And then after you figure out the short leg, over here we always want to figure out the short leg first. And from the short leg to long leg is multiplied by radical 3. So 2 times radical 3, L is 2 radical 3. Okay? So here is the first question. Short leg is 2, long leg is radical 3, hypotenuse is 4. 2 to radical 3, 4. It fit on our ratio. All right. Since we are doing the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle, let's just pick all of them and do them at the same time. So next question I want to see is number 3. Okay, number 3, again here we have a 30 degree, so here has to be a 60 degree. All right, and this time we have this short leg. So awesome, we don't need to figure out short leg, we just start from the short leg. From the short leg to the hypotenuse, this is hypotenuse, this is our long leg. You're gonna multiply by 2. So over here, hypotenuse is equals to 7 multiplied by 2, 14. Okay, and from short leg to long leg, we're gonna multiply by radical 3. Okay, and then over here, long leg is 7 times radical 3, it's just 7 radical 3. Okay, again in this triangle, we have 7 radical 3, and 14. Okay, last one, we are looking at number 5. Here is 60, so here has to be 30. This one is a little different, so you still need to know how to identify the short leg and long leg. So over here, the short leg is opposite to 30 degree, so here is short leg. Long leg is opposite to 60 degree, here is long leg. And again, over here is your hypotenuse. Okay, we want to figure out the short leg first. Short leg will be hypotenuse divided by 2. Hypotenuse divided by 2. So over here we have short leg is 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. After you figure out the short leg, you go to the long leg. You're gonna multiply by radical 3. Thank you. And then radical 3, L is equals to 4.5 times radical 3. That's it. It's your answer. So you have 4.5 radical 3 and 9. So over here we done everything about 30 degree, 60 degree, and 90 degree. You will see the ratio is very important. And if you have the short leg, the long leg, you just simply multiply by radical 3, and the hypotenuse is just multiplied by 2. Okay, so always figure out the short leg first and use the ratio to get all the other legs. Now let's look at 45, 45, 90 degree. So this one is actually easier because the ratio is 1, 1, radical 2. You just need to figure out one leg, then you got another leg, okay? So, for example, this one. We know from the hypotenuse, where is your hypotenuse? To any one of your leg, you're gonna divide it by radical 2. From the leg to hypotenuse is multiplied by radical 2. Divided by radical 2. So you just need to know what is 4 divided by radical 2. So 4 divided by radical 2, we're gonna simplify it by multiply radical 2 on the top and bottom. So on the bottom will be radical 2 times radical 2 is 2. On the top will be 4 times radical 2. 4 radical 2 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. You're going to only work with the constant. 2 radical 2 is your answer. So over here, your answer is 2 radical 2. Think about 2 radical 2 times 4 is 2 times radical 4 is just 4. Okay, so that works. If this leg is 2 radical 2, the other leg is also 2 radical 2 since it's an isosceles triangle. So we solved number 2. Okay, number 4. Number 4, my one leg is 3 radical 3. We want to figure out the hypotenuse. Before we figure out hypotenuse, can you tell me what is the other leg? Since one is 3 radical 3, it is an isosceles triangle, so the other one is also 3 radical 3. Okay, and then we're gonna go to the hypotenuse. So 3 radical 3, go to the hypotenuse. We're gonna multiply by radical 2. Okay, so 3 radical 3 times radical 2. And when you multiply, you're gonna multiply the one in the square roots together. So 3 radical 6. Radical 6 cannot simplify, so you leave your answer like this. So 3 radical 6 is your answer. Okay, I hope this video will help you, and I will see you next time.